Blood will dry underneath my nails, and the wind will rise up to fill my sails. So you can't doubt and you can't hate, but I know no matter what it takes, I'm coming home, I'm coming home. Tell the world that I'm coming home. Let the rain wash away all the pain of yesterday. I know my kingdom awaits. They've forgiven my mistakes. I'm coming home, coming home. Tell the world I'm coming. Still far away from where I belong, but it's always darkest before the dawn. So you can't doubt and you can't hate, but I know no matter what it takes, I'm coming home, I'm coming home. Tell the world I'm coming home. Let the rain wash away all the pain of yesterday. I know my kingdom awaits. They've forgiven my mistakes. I'm coming home, coming home. Tell the world I'm coming home.
Pretty sure it's a boat, bro. What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? My name is Jade Farrar, and it's so exciting we have 9 viewers for the stream. In about an hour's time, there's going to be a massive announcement from ministers around the future of the disability support system. But before that, Mike and I decided that we were going to go over a little bit of the history of enabling good lives, talk about the Waikato demonstration in particular because Mike is part of that, and then we were going to watch the stream with you guys and do a little bit of a dissection afterwards. Just going to bring Mike in now. Mike, how's it going?
Good, mate. It's a pleasure to be here with you here today.
So, right off the bat, before we get into the history lesson for everybody, what are you looking to see in today's announcement quickly?
I'm just expecting to see a lot of detail. I hope that, it's very clear, obviously, when the rollout takes place, whether that's in July, as they originally stated, and as much, information for disabled people and their whānau as is possible.
Now, but before we go on to the next bit, you are really keen to talk about the build-up to this announcement. You've got quite a clear opinion on it.
Yeah, I'm really disappointed actually. I feel like apart from you and me, this has pretty much gone under the radar, and I would ask the question as to why that is. I'd also ask the question as to why they're not streaming it via Facebook. So, it's a pretty... I'm glad we're here today doing this because I feel like it's an historic day for the sector, and people need to know about what's coming up because it's a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me personally, this has been a 6-year plus sort of journey. I've seen the transformation project go right from the inception of the principles themselves, so the 2011 report, right until this very moment. And just quickly, before we head to the history lesson, I just wanted to say, as a personal view, I wanted to make a big deal out of this. I really wanted to make a stamp in history, record this moment. It would have been really exciting to have Ants on the show, the other member of the Content Creators Network, but she's actually on the ground in Palmerston North, and that's probably actually a better place to be, would you agree, Mike, this afternoon?
Yeah, definitely. I'm really excited for Ants, and hopefully she gets to, talk to some really influential people, and hopefully get a bit more information, after the announcement. That'd be great.
So, right about now, I'm expecting plenty of technical difficulties as we go through the next hour, but we're going to move on to the history lesson. Mike, you're going to hit mute on your microphone now, is that right? Yep. Cool. Excellent. And I'm just going to move on to the next bit. So we'll turn that off. So, what I just wanted to talk about, because I have a lot of opportunity to go around the country and share the journey of enabling good lives, but I'm aware often we only get to head to the main cities, so Auckland, Wellington, Christchurch, sometimes the Waikato, but we never actually get to share some of the detail behind how we got here in the first place. So, just really quickly, I just wanted to let you guys know that this is the detail here if you're sitting at your computer. I mean, 2012, long-term change was signalled to disability supports was signalled by the government. And that was on advice that they got from the community 2008. I think that initial review was undertaken. Demonstrations, 3 years in Christchurch, and this information needs to be updated, but it's now been 3 years in the Waikato. Am I right, Mike? I can see Mike, but you guys can't.
Yeah, that's right.
The demonstrations themselves are not EGL, and like it says here, the demonstrations were an opportunity to trial some of the various different elements. So each demonstration didn't actually have access to all the elements at once. Palmerston North, or the Mid-Central rather, will be the first time ever that we've had a location, a community where we're going to be rolling out all of the elements all at the same time, effectively replacing the current system. It's all about systems change across 3 ministries, and in the future we hope that more ministries will become a part of it. This is not a Ministry of Health initiative necessarily, and this is not IF 2.0, which is often some of the feedback we get. And by the way, guys, if you're in the chat and you've got an opinion about anything we're talking about today, please leave a message. I can see everything that's going on in there. Whoops. I think we've got a mishap with the slide. So we'll move on to the other bit that I was going to talk about anyway, which is the high level design. Now, for 3 months, a group consisting of disabled persons, families and providers, as well as various officials, got in a room and said, we know what the principles say, we know what the principles are supposed to do, but I think it's time now that we provided advice to government on sort of what it would look like, the ideal experience. What would that look like for disabled people and their families? And I'm struggling to see this diagram, so I wouldn't blame you if you were as well. But just to look at some of the things, I mean, it's really straightforward. It's all based on the principles. Fundamentally, it's about getting information so you know what support is available to you. You have somebody to assist me, and I think later on you're going to talk about the connector to Horner roll mic.
Yep, that's right.
I know what I want to achieve and how to get there, so networking, network building, opportunities to talk to others, natural resources, that kind of thing. I have support to do the things I want, so that could be around, a funding allocation, could be around technology, it could be a variety of things. And then what was really important to the co-design group is that when things change, what then? So we decided to provide advice to government around that as well. So I don't know if any of you guys can see this. I did my best with the diagrams, but just some of the key elements that were in the previous cabinet paper are in this diagram. So we talked about a multi-channel disability information system, the importance of investing in disabled people and whānau capability and capacity, self-determined pathways and support tailored to the disabled person and their whānau, self-managed information system, because one of the things I've heard for many years is for disabled people it can be a real issue for the fact that our information seems to get shared in a whole lot of places. Sometimes we're not even aware of why that is. So we decided we wanted to put forward a self-managed information mechanism. Obviously, guys, we are talking about funding as part of this conversation. But more than that, we're talking about the tools, resources, and processes to support an Enabling Good Lives journey. The Enabling Good Lives team and... I can't even read that bit. All in all, it's about investing in capability and capacity. I know we can't see you, Mike, but do you just want to come back in for a second?
Yep.
Any reflections on that you want to see while I look at the next bit?
No, I just this whole design. I mean, yeah, it is quite tricky to see on the actual stream, but yeah, I just love the how it's trying to essentially create, a more flexible system, a system where people are in charge of their lives, of their support, and it gives the opportunity for that support to really, because it's customized, because it's personalized, it can kind of provide that launching platform to other areas of life, which I think is so important, because we and I'll say this a lot this afternoon, up until now, we've really focused too much on just the care aspect, and we kind of had a real welfare mindset about the way we've done things.
So guys, just before I move to the next slide, it's really important to know that this is not information that I'm leaking. This is not information that you're going to see this afternoon. All of this is actually available right now as part of the previous cabinet paper on enablingoodlives.co.nz. But I guess the last thing I just wanted to share with you guys, and equally I'm probably going to have just as much trouble reading this, so I'm going to switch over to another screen. But this talks about the high level experience. So I'm not actually in a position to read it now. I was before. But Mike, do you have it in front of you?
I have it in front of me on the stream. I'll just bring it up on my computer.
Could I just throw a spanner in the works and get you to sort of just speak to the columns?
Yep.
Just because for whatever reason I'm having trouble reading it right now.
Yep. I'll just bring it up on my.
I can pull it up as well.
Yep. So So you want me to speak to the...
Just these columns here. Just each column and the heading and what it represents. And the overview underneath it.
Okay, so this is the... what the new system... what a high-level experience. So on the top side and the columns we've got... So we've got gateway on the left side. We've got disabled person, whānau, other people, critical system shifts. So it moves across from left to right. So it starts from I'm looking for information and support, moving to I would like someone to assist me, I'm ready to talk about what I want to do with my life, going from that to knowing what I want to do with my life and how I'm going to get there, then putting the support in place to do the things that I, aka the disabled person, wants, and then crucially, as you touched on, things may have changed, so I might need something else. So it covers all those fundamental aspects from the very start, looking for information and support, through to once you have support, things may change.
Okay, I'm almost there with you, Mike. I'm really sorry about that.
No,
so I just wanted to talk about some of these critical shifts. So in terms of the beginning of the process, support is directed by the person. It builds trust, reflects manaakitanga, and is culturally responsive. Support is able to cover immediate crisis. Now, you would have seen this in the previous cabinet paper as well, because I know you spoke to me about that really briefly, about how impressive that was to you. Why is that?
Because there's a number of reasons for that. Sometimes this whole crisis word, I really feel it's important that we acknowledge that, because sometimes there is an immediate need for support, whatever that looks like. It can be low-level support or it can be very high-level support. And what I really feel like is that this is not... The person needs help, right? What they don't need is the additional stress of having to find the resources and talk to 10 different agencies. They just need the help, and they need it tonight. They need it now. So I think that having from the very first instance, realizing that this may be a crisis situation, having the ability to respond in a quick manner, day of, sometimes within a few hours,
Right.
is very, very crucial. Not sure if I answered your question, but,
No,
but yeah.
you have it, and I guess the other thing I wanted to talk about in terms of the beginning of the process, which I think will be really important for people to know about, is the fact that we are trying to design a system that is welcoming and warm to disabled people and their families, um, and respects them and matches them where they were at and based on what they want. I mean, it's fair to say you and I both have sort of anecdotes about the fact, NASC, needs assessment, whatever you want to call it, they haven't really needed to be all that warm and respectful and inviting. That's not a key feature right now.
No, they haven't been, and that's simply because we haven't, for the longest time, disabled people and their whānau have been to do for, not to do with. What we need to realise, and what I think we have now, is that, look, this is a difficult enough situation for the families, especially the families, as it is. They don't know, they're scared, they don't know what their future's going to hold. They want the best for their child or their brother or their sister, whatever. So we need to create a system that not only gives them autonomy over the direction of their lives, but is so it's a good experience, and it's welcoming, as you said. It's warm, and it doesn't like say here's what we can give you. It's like, what would you like us to give? What would you like us to do for you? Don't worry about how it's going to do it. Just tell us what you need and what you would like.
So I think if I could skip right over to, I have the support to do the things that I want. I guess one of the things we haven't touched on here today, and I think it would be really important to land on this, is the fact that the new system, whenever it launches, in whatever shape or form it launches, will be governed by disabled persons and families. So we have examples of that already in the Waikato. Mid Central now has a leadership group, and I'm part of a process right now to support the Christchurch, Canterbury region rather, to get back up and running. So that's different, wouldn't you say, Mike?
Very different, and I'm a big believer that there's no substitute for lived experience. Actually, there's no substitute for two things: lived experience, but also diversity, because every experience is not the same. In fact, each individual is just that. Their situation, their story is tailored to them. So it's great that we've got people with lived experience around the table talking with government officials, but I think we're really only scratching the surface of the potential that this could have for people. And I would love to get to a point where disabled people, more and more of them are involved in these processes, and perhaps even financially rewarded for their time.
Yeah, I guess we don't want to spend too much time on this, but I just wanted to say, as part of looking at these critical shifts, it's important to look at what would be different if something changes for you. And as we've got laid out in the high level design, each disabled person support is flexible and changes with them as they do. The EGL team keeps in regular contact to see how things are going for people. So the bit that I take away from this is proactiveness and just energy. That's a weird word when you're talking about policy, but what we've tried to do is create a warm, inviting, proactive energy like nothing disabled persons and families have seen before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just a comment in the chat here. Jackie Fried, hello. She says she can't get sound. It's definitely working on my end. I don't know.
So for people watching, so what it is, Mike, if you just want to message her back, Twitch, right at the beginning, mute is the default position. So people have to unmute the player to hear sound.
Okay, I'll just
Thanks for that, though, Jackie. Really appreciate that.
Cool.
I should get my eyes back across the chat, but right about now, Mike, we're going to have a chat about you.
Oh, wow.
So we've talked about some of the key features in the high-level design, and I know that a lot of people would have been across this stuff, and, I've just taken the time to really go back over it. Can you tell us, because I know you've got some of your own slides, but can you tell us just broadly what it's been like for you to live in an EGL approach?
Cool. Do you want to, just bring me onto the stream as well?
Yeah, of course. Sorry, guys. Yep. And you're back. There you go.
Cool. Hello, everyone. In terms of being part of, Enabling Good Lives, I'm one of 299 people here in the Waikato to be a part of it. So I realise I'm very lucky. But, it's been I started my Enabling Good Lives journey living in a residential service. And, I was amazed at how easy the process was. I mean, I met a connector at an event one day, and I sort of, at that point, just come to terms with, hey, I want to move out of home and that, and from there it was just like I found a connector and we built, we talked about what I wanted to achieve with my life. We talked at a very minimal level about the care aspect, really, which was so refreshing. It wasn't all about the shower and the getting out of bed and what time do you want to go to bed and all this very, in my opinion, low level stuff. So it was so refreshing, and then we found a house and I moved in here, and now I completely self-manage my entire support system. So it's an amazing change, and having said all that, I don't think EGL is perfect. I think we can probably get into the role of the connector a bit later, but you couldn't really ask for anything better at the moment.
It couldn't be a worse time for that to happen. I apologize. I'm going to go in airplane mode now. Carry on, sorry?
Like I was saying, it's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I think, one of the things that I see is that there's not enough connectors. We've got 299 active participants here in the Waikato. I know one connector who has like 65 people on their books. They're working, way above the threshold, and there's a major waiting list. So I think one of the things that Mid Central can learn is have more connectors, but not just connectors working for an official agency, whatever that's going to be, whether it's EGL or something else. I think independent advocacy, independent connectors, tūhono, very important.
Yeah, cool. So I just want to ask you though, like if you were to reflect on your life in residential before EGL, I mean, would you trade it back? I mean, I know you're being very critical about some of the things that aren't quite right, and I want to give you that respect to say, hey, that's your opinion, and I appreciate you bringing that on my stream. So that's your reality. I get it, but would you trade it back for residential care?
No, no, not at all. I mean, I'm able to live with my partner now. I'm able to, do what I want, when I want. My life is, almost 100% different to what it was, in residential. But yeah,
I mean, so just to break it down for some people, because some of us we live outside the Waikato and we live outside of Christchurch. So what's been the key differences? I mean, obviously the connector, you've mentioned that already, but what is it about living an EGL approach that makes it so much better than the current system?
I think what I said in regards to like the process. I mean, and what they call a supported self-assessment, and what we did through that was we looked at. To me, it was a strengths-based approach, and I know that word gets thrown around a lot, but I talked about what I wanted with my life, So some of the things I needed with my life was I needed more access, I needed more transport, I needed more flexible support to support me with my studies, with my work, all that sort of stuff. So we approached the whole thing from that avenue. We didn't approach it from getting out of residential just to get out of residential, just to have more flexibility. It was about what I wanted with my life outside of just the service delivery support sort of stuff. And it's just like, I use this analogy all the time, but it's like building around the person, no matter what their preferences were. If I had wanted to move to Australia or to the other side of New Zealand, we would have talked about that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
I just really wanted to ask the question, and this is your opinion, so there can be no wrong answer. Bearing in mind what the principles stand for, and the fact there's been so much endorsement around them from disabled persons and families, you've got your own particular experience being a young adult, but do you feel as we move through the generations that EGL would support people to have more equity in life? It sounds like I'm leading your answer a bit, but what I'm trying to get to is it has great benefits for us as older people, I suppose. Do you think it would have even more benefit for younger families with really young children, like 1, 2, 3-year-olds? What do you think?
I do. I actually really do, because I think what we all realise this, but I'm not too sure if the system realises it yet, and that's the fact that no matter what age, every person with a disability, and I hate to label like that, but we are individuals, and we have to build around the whole of life in per what that individual wants. And I think the sooner we can start having discussions with families about that, future goal setting, don't work against families. I think a huge aspect of what the connector should be, especially for children of that young age, coming up through preschool, school, high school, work with the child and the family as one whole unit. You know what I mean? I think that's crucially important, and I hope that that's what the new system will represent. But yeah.
Well, it comes down to the fact that no man or woman is an island, right? And I guess one of my reflections, being a Pacific person and developing this new system, is the fact that decisions are very much a whānau approach. It's not about, just ask Jade and he'll decide
Yeah.
what he wants to do on his own. You know, I've wanted to embrace the input of my family all the way along.
I'm a huge believer that because right now, I'm 26, right, 25, 26. Can't even remember my age. But the thing is, I wouldn't be in the position that I am now, having a voice, being able to make my own decisions, if I didn't, in those early stages, have a family or a support system that included me in all discussions. I wasn't making the decisions when I was 6, 7, you know, but I was included in all the discussions, all the IEPs, you know, family discussions, system discussions, all that sort of stuff. My parents made it so. They were like, we're not doing anything until he's in the room with us. And I think that regardless of impairment, that should be the case.
So, mate, this is probably a good segue. We can carry that conversation on. We can definitely come back to it. But I just want to say it's been really handy for me to be able to engage with you in the way that we do in terms of getting a real terms experience of the Waikato demonstration. Because I talk to a lot of the leadership groups, but their lens is slightly different. You know, they're working on bigger picture stuff. So I always really enjoy talking to individuals, and it's great to have you on the show today. But I understand you've got some things that you want to share as far as your relationship to some of the key elements. So I'll just throw your first slide up here. I don't know if people can make that out. We really do apologise. But Mike, if you could do your best to speak to it, that'd be great.
Yep, no worries, man. I'll go through all the ones I sent. Yeah. So
can you just mention whereabouts in the Part B papers you are, so people can follow along?
Okay, so I'm down the bottom of the page here. So section 2.3, and this is on slide 10 of Part B, which you can find on enablingoodlives.co.nz/system transformation. So I just felt support network options that may include. So some of the elements we've got here: Facebook virtual groups, I'm going to read them all, socially based peer group, activist groups, forum groups, advocacy with supported decision making, very crucial, advocacy for other government systems, socially based peer connections, trusted allies, advocacy with substituted decision making. When I was reading this yesterday, I just loved the variety. You know, there wasn't 2 or 3 things here like we've had in the past. So many different options here, and I think that disabled people, family, and whānau can find a voice in all of these. You know, nothing wrong with advocacy groups either. You know what I'm saying? So if that's the first thing I wanted to put across today. I'm doing my best here, guys. So if we move on to slide 11, and that is reference 3.0. Now I'm just going to read what it says here, because it touches on family choice basically. So we work out what we want to do and how we get there. I'll just check that this is actually on. Yeah, it is on. So
I've got you, Mike. Don't worry about it. I've got you. I'm following along.
I've never done this before, man. I'm freaking out.
So what I'd really be keen to get in this is not only your support for it, but I guess your own personal reflection of how it supports your life, because that's what I'm really excited about, and what I think a lot of our followers here today would be excited about, because I guess you can hear the words, you can hear the mechanics of it, and it's like, oh yeah, whatever, you know, it's just bureaucratic stuff. But if you could take some of these elements that you brought for us today and bring us your own connection to it, that'd be really cool.
Cool. So good point. So this bit here is talking about me and my whānau choose who I want my connector / two-horner to be. And I think that's really important because the connection with the, no pun intended, with the connector, the relationship with the connector is really important. And if it doesn't gel, it's not going to work. So I think that's the beauty in having more connectors available, more options for people to choose from. And
can I just say something on that, because I think as far as the connector goes, if they are going to be this trusted independent ally that we've designed them to be, it's the thing about they just have to fit.
Yep.
They have to fit. They have to fit with you as a family. They have to fit with you as an individual. You can't be entrusting your life's design, if you will, to a person that you don't feel cares about you. Or, worse, you don't care about them, so you're not invested in sharing your journey with them. What do you think?
I totally agree. And if there isn't that gel, it falls over, essentially. So, yeah.
Cool. So, are we up to... how many have we done now?
We've done 2. So we're up to 3.4, which is the allocation process. But do we want to maybe skip that and just go to slide 13, 4.3?
I'm going on the basis of how many you gave me, so I'm up to slide 4. So this one here.
Yep.
Is that the one?
That's the one. Yep. Just let me bring up my notes here, guys. Sorry about this.
Sorry, can I just interrupt your flow before you go? We've had some amazing contributions from Jasmine in the chat today, and she's just said something I really want to read out. Most of you that are on Twitch right now can see this, but just for you, Mike, can you see that one from Jasmine, or do you want me to read it?
Yes, I can. Yep.
Yeah, cool. So Jasmine says, is it possible for this to be made available after the chat so we can read it? It's in very small print and hard to listen to and read and think about what you're saying at the same time. Absolutely, absolutely. So what Mike has already actually done, Jasmine, is if you look in the chat, Mike's actually provided the link, and the current cabinet papers are there now. So we're talking about the current ones. After about 3:15 today, those links are going to be replaced by new decisions that have been confirmed by government. I don't know what they are. Mike doesn't know what they are. What we're trying to do with the show is generate some new interest in the process. So we hope you're enjoying the little lesson that we're making available to you guys. Carry on, Mike. Sorry.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I totally respect that feature, Jasmine, so much for doing that. We will also have some written documentation of our own in the coming days after the show as well, which will, in pretty high detail, go through everything that we said in this video. So, slide 13, section 4.3, using my funding. I reckon this is really important because I know for myself that I've used some of my support funding for, equipment to help me with other aspects of my life, not just, like care stuff like tables or commodes and stuff like that. And I just think it's important because we have to understand that disabled people, frankly, are not really a lot of them are not, I don't want to sound horrible here, but not in jobs, not in education. And I think that there is nothing wrong, quite frankly, if a disabled person says, hey, I want to use my portion of funding for my student fees. So, for example, right, Joe Bloggs wants to go study business at Wintec or at Waikato University, wherever. Rather than get into debt, and why can't we use a portion of the funding for that semester? I'm a strong advocate for that. I really, really am. If we move on to getting there to signaling, and it's on the screen already. Signaling / triggering a change, and this is what we.
Oh, sorry, was I a slide ahead of you, mate?
I think you were, bro, but it's all good. It's all good.
Okay.
Yeah. Triggering a change. This is so crucially important because needs change over time, and one of the probably the biggest problem with the funding for disability support in this country is that it doesn't take that into account. It really doesn't. And I want to give you an example. One of my old flatmates who has a fairly high-functioning physical disability, he is 32 now. And a couple of years ago, he made the decision that he wanted to upskill himself. So I went back to university, and he couldn't get any support because it was based on his OARS funding from back in high school, 15 plus years ago. And his disability hadn't progressed any same as it has now. So he couldn't get anything. So I think it's important that the system recognises that change happens. So on the slide here, so we start with something has changed, or the person decides that they want to make a change. It's crucial that they can easily contact their connector or whoever they're working with. They need access to what they need, right? And then you ask the question with your connector, is it possible with existing resources? And if that answer is no, then it shouldn't just be, well, sorry, we can't help you. That's when the person and the connector should work together to go back to the funding panel or the powers that be and say, well, actually, I need this part of my life, and it happens. You know what I'm saying, Jade?
Yeah, on the flip side of that, what I would say is, I really want to get people to a place that, EGL is definitely about the money in some respects. We're doing a lot of reform in terms of making resources much more flexible, much more applicable, and flexible would be the word. I don't know what other word I would use. But so in my experience of the work that we've been doing, when people have more flexible access to resource, when they're able to buy things other than human resources and support, they actually tend to require less.
Yes.
What would your reflection be about that, whether that be yourself or people within the demonstration?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think not so much on the care aspect, because I think those care needs will always be there. And if we're talking about degenerative conditions, then they're probably going to get worse over time. But I think if you can invest up front, and give the people the best that they can possibly get from the very get-go, chances are they won't necessarily come back asking for more. But even if they do, I think there should be a discussion, which once again the disabled person in whānau should be involved with at every single level of that conversation.
If you're comfortable, I mean, I know we didn't talk about this prior. Thinking about your own situation, Your needs have changed at various times. I know that because I know you.
Yep.
Would you say that EGL or system transformation has been more responsive than the old system?
I would say that it's been more responsive. In terms of my situation, I'm going to be, for full disclosure, going to be having some pretty serious talks with my connector very soon because my needs are changing. I am requiring more support on average than what my budget allows.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm going to be sort of saying, look, I might need an increase, and to me, it's sort of what needs to happen, but yeah,
Yeah, there's that. But I just wanted to say, before
yeah,
this massive need that you have, generally speaking, do you find
yes,
that your situation much more flexible?
yes, because of that open line of communication that you have with your connector and so forth. Yep.
Sure. So should we move to your last slide?
Yep. My last slide is about the connector /2 hono. Very, very important. So I just want to list some of the responsibilities that this paper suggests that the connector has. So building trusted relationships with disabled people. And this one here is very important. Understanding people in their context. It's literally just slide 20. There's no actual reference. So just slide 20 there, mate. Yeah. So yeah, very important. Because once again, everybody's an individual. Their environment, their cultural values, all that will change for each individual. There needs to be support to disabled people to think about what their opportunities and possibilities are. But basically everything that is so far in the opposite direction of what the system has always done before. Think about that whole of life. So a key shift would be that person-directed support, trust building, responsiveness, and investing time. This is not, one thing I should have said earlier was that the whole process for me, it took a lot of time. It did. And, it's not something that's going to happen overnight, and it's not something you should rush into. You need to have discussions as soon, for as long as you can, build out what you want that new life to look like, and then put the building blocks in place,
Yep.
Yep. So I think the connector role is going to be so important moving forward, and I just connecting the right person with the right family, sort of thing.
Sorry, Mike. If you could just keep talking, I'm just making sure that we're queued up for the announcement as it starts. So if you could entertain the people, that would be more than appreciated, just for a couple of minutes.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I've been doing some karaoke lately. Anyone here do karaoke? I love karaoke. Been doing it heaps, but today we'll throw to the announcement very soon. About 3:10, I believe it is coming in. It'll be Minister Cepoloni and Genta. I tweeted them this morning, actually, but yeah, I'm really excited. I'm nervous. I know that Jade's really excited too. But a shout out, I guess, at the moment, because we will react, to what happens this afternoon, but I think what we all need to keep in our mind is that a lot of people have busted their behind, quite frankly, to get this over the line, and whatever happens, it's not going to be perfect. I think we all know that. So we just need to keep that in mind. Again, people have really worked hard, and they should be credited, quite frankly, for what they've done. So
I guess what I would say as well is, like, for disabled persons and families, this is it, right? This is our lot. This is what's coming, and that's it. And I was really humbled by the fact that a couple of officials said, I really do appreciate that this is my job, and I could turn this off and forget about disability if I want. But more and more, because of the cooperative nature of our work and the fact that, officials are needing to work alongside disabled persons and families, as has been mandated, they're starting to build a real appreciation for what it means to be disabled and the struggles that we go through every day. And it started off like as if I was trying to be like angry about the process, but I think officials have really understood the need for this change and the fact that things aren't working for us right now, and I'm stoked.
yeah, we just got a comment over on Facebook here. Roger Marsden, not too sure if this means anything, but of course you would have Jade as he is your friend and mentor, but he was only a part of it. I think what he meant by that is system transformation. I interviewed Kamau Supaloni last week and asked her questions on system transformation.
And that's great. And I guess just to say to people again, the point of doing this live stream wasn't to detract from the fact that you can go over to Enabling Good Lives and watch it. Like, if you don't want to be here, if you don't want to be a part of the conversation that we're generating, and just as I said that, I wanted to go back to the chat room, that's totally fine, but we just wanted to provide a platform to get a little bit more insight and a little bit more understanding around the process. I mean, I completely lost my history slide, so we can put that in the show notes, but there is a lot of history. And it all started back in 2008 with the select committee review of, I think it was it day services?
It wasn't just day services. I'll look that up again. It was something else as well.
But just to say, I might have got it wrong, sorry, but just to say, this has been a long process. And I'm sitting here now watching the clock thinking, oh man, this is happening,
I want to actually just ask you, I mean, you sort of said before, this is our lot, and I how do you think disabled people feel when they hear you say something like that?
Did I say this is our lot? I mean, like, this is it. This is what's happening. We're in traction. But I guess, we do have the option to change it. But in reference to that, I suppose what I was referring to is that there have been some people that haven't been involved. And that could be for a number of reasons. One, they haven't wanted to be involved. It's too early for them. Or two, we just haven't been in their town. Yeah. So it's not necessarily that this is our lot. What I think I said was, this is it. This is the moment.
I totally agree. I wasn't trying to. Yeah. So it was the inquiry. I think. No, I think I'm in the wrong one. Shut up, Michael. I'll find it. How are you feeling, JD? I know you.
I mean, I'm feeling nervous. Yeah. Especially when I was going to do this big thing about EGL history and I lost all the slides. So, not sure what was up with that, really.
If I can find it. The 2008 Social Services Select Committee. So, yeah, you were right on that one.
Yeah. Well,
to me, I mean, when we're going to look back on the history, I think there were three moments, and the first one was the closing of institutions. And that was a long process. That was over 10 years.
For sure.
Um, I think
And I didn't actually realize the last one closed in, like, what was it, 2006?
2004, I think it was.
Four, okay.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, and that took 10, 15, nearly 20 years. And I think the second big moment was that report we mentioned in 2008, and people really need to read that. And then the third moment is this moment right here. We do have a lot of comments though, bro. Should we get to them?
Let's go back over some of the ones from Jasmine. I think, she was just asking about the papers, and earlier on in the day she said, "Thanks, Jade and Mike, for doing this. Such important conversations to be having and shaping the future for disabled people and their families in New Zealand." I couldn't agree more, and like, it goes without saying, I was absolutely personally invested in creating hype around this. I wanted to create hype. I want people to be excited, and I'm not sure how many people knew this was happening. So, knowing that you and I use social media as much as we do, I wanted to create this platform.
Heather Averill has got, thinking of the social model of disability, our system has not been supportive of the strengths and the talents that we have. This is exciting.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on that around the social model? Because I know we've batted that around a few times. So
Yeah.
So where have you landed as of the 26th of April?
I think I think things like the social model, the UN convention, I think quite frankly, rather, it's lost on a lot of disabled people, and they don't know about it. They don't really want to know about it. They just want to be people, and they want to get the support that they require.
For sure.
In terms of the actual social model, I believe in it. I was offended, quite frankly, at the disability pride movement. I felt that that it completely missed the point of what a lot of people have been trying to put across for many years. I understand why they were doing it, but I don't really take a lot of pride because disability is not the individual. Disability is the barriers that is put in place by a society that is ignorant of people with disabilities. No, that's not the official term. That's just the Michael Pullman one.
For sure.
But, yeah.
And just from me, I'd wholeheartedly agree. I've been a big champion of the social model for the longest time, and I wholeheartedly believe that it's not impairment that disables people. It's attitudes, environments, and policies that do that. So, to break it down for people, I'm sure we've got knowledgeable people in the chat here today, but just to break it down, for example, if I'm going to a job interview and there's one building with stairs and one with a ramp and a lift, only one of those job interviews am I actually going to be disabled. Get it? So it's really simple. There were a couple of things that I was going to cover off earlier, but we were having some technical difficulties, and just some points that I wanted to share about the overall agreed approach to what's going to be in the new system. The important thing is that there's not going to be drastic change on day one. Now, the interesting thing about day one is you seem to think there's going to be a little bit of movement, Mike.
In terms of rollout date?
Yeah, you've commented a couple of times you don't think it's going to happen 1st of July.
But I guess we could throw into predictions. It might be a good time. I don't know if you want to do that, but
I'm probably not in a position to speculate, but if you'd like to, more power to you.
yeah, I think my first prediction would be I'm gonna have to nail it down to September. I think that that's when they're gonna roll out. I just can't see it happening in.
Okay, so if they announce a movement in the start date, why are you so convinced that there would need to be movement on it?
I don't think providers in the mid-central are ready. I think that the delay, it's been a while. It's taken a while for this to get to cabinet and get agreement on.
Hold on though. Hold on. Like, this isn't me just defending officials or anything, but there was a new government.
Yeah.
Yep. So that would have caused delay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Carry on.
I just completely broke my chain of thought there, Jade. I also think that it's a very complicated paper, and everything that we read going in, this was a huge overhaul to the system.
Are you talking about your workstream work?
No, I'm talking about the original cabinet paper.
Oh,
way back, yeah.
This one that we're commenting on, yeah.
Yeah. It's very complicated, and I think it's important that they get it right, and I can't see them doing it in July. That's just my prediction. Second prediction, is I've got so many in my head. I'm just trying to. My second prediction was that this doesn't focus enough on employment of people with disabilities as we hope it would. Now I'm curious, because is that really what this is for? Have we maybe missed the boat on the employment side of things again?
Well, I mean, once a person's resources are made more flexible and decisions are still to be made on that mechanism, the funding, we kind of glazed over that today for good reason. One would suggest that they could use their disability supports in whatever way they needed to assist with employment.
Totally.
Has employment been left out as a working group, as a feature? I can't actually speak to that because I'm not aware. So if you know something I don't, please.
No, I don't. I'm just trying to. Yeah. And I guess the third prediction is that I just don't think the majority of providers in New Zealand, service providers, are going to be able to operate in this new environment. I don't see it.
Wow, that's a big call. Why?
Because they have to completely change the way they operate, and not only that, they have to review how they operate now. Like, for the big providers, get all those people around the table, and try and also be profitable. And we're not for profit is Bull BC. If they're not profitable, they're not gonna stay afloat. So I think that prediction, you're gonna see at least 50% of New Zealand's providers either have to merge or not survive.
So on that, I guess there is a question for disabled people and their families in terms of the change. Do you need a provider? I mean, case in point, you manage your own staff. So that, I was going to say, not in a derogatory way, but it's kind of rich coming from you, isn't it?
It is. It's very rich coming from me. And what I would say is that it's not everybody even wants to have to manage their own support system. There's going to be a lot of hundreds of people who come into this new system wanting somebody to take care of it all for them. And that is why
for sure.
there will always be some providers.
Yeah.
So I hear what you're saying.
Like for me personally, in all the work that I've done traveling around the country, I completely understand that providers have a place. The younger version of me, the more naive version of me, said, "Hey, do we need them at all?" But some families and some wider whānau, aren't really in a position to take on the full-time care of their loved one, and I totally get that.
Yeah. I just want to clarify too. I'm not trying to say that service providers shouldn't be around. I'm just trying to. This is my opinion, and I at the recent NZDSN conference, I kind of felt like the majority of them didn't really have an idea yet, and we are, well, if we roll out in July, we're what, 3 months away, so yeah, 2 months.
So guys, like we're not very far at all from needing to cross to the live stream, and Mike, you're gonna stay on and we're gonna do a bit of a breakdown, a deconstruction of what we heard, and we're obviously recording this just before we do go. Just to remind everybody what this is all about. This is about creating choice and control for disabled persons and families in terms of their support in their lives. It's about, when we talk about choice and control, we mean in all aspects, including funding. This is about disabled persons and families governing the system. It's an opportunity to create efficiencies, but not necessarily savings. So we understand that the system does not work well, it's very clunky, and has many layers that it probably doesn't need to have. The new system will focus on getting resources and support to families more directly, faster. Those in the... I'm just reading some notes that I made. It's really good that I made these. Those in the mid-central should not expect drastic change day one. For those of you that have services that are working, they will continue to work just as you expect them to. If you would like to see drastic change, or you want things to happen differently for you, please make contact with the Enabling Good Lives team.
Just got a question. It's a technical question, but so this is going to be on the Enabling Good Lives website, the actual live stream.
Yep. This is going to be on the website and the YouTube channel.
I might post a link to the YouTube channel. I'm just sort of noticing they haven't created an event or anything, and it's 3:08.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you wanted me to talk about that, but I just hope that that technically, what I would ask you, Jade. I mean, we talked about a lot in the last hour. How are you feeling about this actual stream today? I mean, because it's quite risky what we're doing. Like I certainly don't want to come across like we're experts on this.
Oh no, and I just saw that guy. I mean, sup, brah. I mean, yeah, completely sup, man. But I've never been called. Well, I have been called irrelevant. Actually, I have. But I'm not doing this because I think I'm important or anything. I'm just doing this because I wanted to do it. And you and I combined have pretty strong platforms of influence. And we just want to help out. If he doesn't want it, or if she doesn't want it, I don't know. Why are you in the chat? It's kind of, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. Oh well. They also sent a picture of a dog, by the way. T Cool sent a picture of a dog.
Where is that?
It's the imager link in the chat there.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, now we're just talking, bro, having a good time. So thanks for watching, appreciate it. Subscribe, follow all that, twitch.tv/Jade Farrar and twitch.tv/Real Michael Paul.
And this isn't a money-making thing. We wanted to do this for the community, but if you do feel so inclined, I do have a link to my PayPal where you can leave me a tip. It helps support me to be able to do content like this and other awesome things on the internet. So, not looking to make money off the stream though, but if you do feel like being generous, that opportunity is there for you.
So, Jasmine just wants to know where will the announcements be streamed. So that'll be on enablingoodlives.co.nz.
Yep. So the thing is, we're gonna post it here. So we're gonna cross to it, Jasmine. So you have the option to either stay here with us and we'll cross to it, or you can go to youtube.com/enablingoodlives. Maybe I can do a bit of a quick lower third for everybody.
They haven't gone live yet. There's no doubt that it'll come up on my thing here. I'm just checking EGL as well, but it's not on there as well. So yeah, guys. After this, we're just going to sort of react in general to what we hear and see, and nothing too technical, I don't think, but I know Jade will, but I'll definitely be going back and watching it again, taking notes, and for more discussion in the coming days.
Yeah, I'm just putting this up so everybody can see it.
Yep.
It'll need to be 5 times bigger than that, though.
Yeah, and also just since we're filling in, just want to shout out to Hannah Averill as well. She supports Jade a lot and myself, so she's been, checking that we're all good here as well. So shout out to you.
Yeah, thanks for being here today, Hannah. And she has been a moderator of sorts in the comments, so I appreciate your support very, very much. We're almost there with the link. Let me know if you guys can see that. I certainly can't, but it's there.
You'll ramp up the volume, won't you?
Does that work? No, I just put the link so everybody knows where the YouTube is. Because I've said this 4 times now. We certainly don't want to confuse people. We are doing a build-up show. We will be crossing live to the stream via the stream. But if you don't want to be a part of the stream while the ministers are talking, please go to the link on the screen. There.
And we'll both be muting our end too when the stream is on, so you'll see us but you won't hear us, eh? Is that right?
They won't see us at all. I'll go full screen and I'll turn off my mic for the announcement, but we will be coming right back here right here like we are now, just to break down and talk about what we've heard today. Maybe Mike is right about the shift in start date. Who knows? We'll see what happens. I'm kind of running out of things to say, and I would have hoped they went live a little while ago, actually.
It'll just be on the homepage of Enabling Good Lives, eh? I'm not looking in the wrong place.
No, well, I'm on the channel.
Yeah, I'm on both, yeah.
I keep refreshing the channel. I haven't seen it yet, man.
I think we'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
What I'm gonna do, we're gonna stay on though. So this is the awkward bit, Mike. We're here for the long haul, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm gonna do just now is text Ants
Yep.
and find out exactly what is happening.
What? Yeah. So while he's doing that, I'll entertain you guys. I'm sure you've heard
No,
enough
I'm still here. Like I can still hear you and all. I just want to check stats and see what's up with the live stream.
Is the minister in the room yet? Ladies and gentlemen. By the way, just want to point you out to what Jade's wearing as well. Nice shirt, man. I don't know who designed that, but awesome stuff.
Oh, yeah. Where's yours?
Oh, mate, I was going to wear a pink shirt today. Like, seriously. But I didn't. I am considering doing a rather interesting live stream tonight, though. You'll have to wait and see on what that's going to be.
Oh, so you're still working tonight then?
Mm-hmm. I will be live over on twitch.tv/real Michael Pullman. That will be at 7 p.m. tonight, so probably won't be talking disability stuff. I actually don't know what we're talking about. You'll have to wait and see.
Can we just, I know this is like going way off track, but can we just talk about your live stream last night?
No, mate, we're going.
We're off, are we?
Yep.
Okay, hold on.
Yep.
Let me rack it up.
Alright, just tell me when you want me to mute. Guys, we're about to go here.
Hey, Robbie, this is mine.
Yep, we're going.
Okay.
Hey, mauri ora. Te mea tuatahi I tēnei rā, o tēnei takāranga.
I've got it.
Tēnei te mihi. Kia kōrua, ngā minita. O te take, hauātanga. O te minita, whakahoa. O te mana tū, hau ora. O tēnei te mihi atu kia kōrua ki tō haerenga mai ki tātou nei whenua ki tātou nei rohe. Ko tēnei he wā nunui ki a tātou katoa. Our ministers of Associate Minister of Health and our Minister of Disability Issues, we welcome you here today to our rohe of Ngāti Raukawa and Rangitāne. Te mea tuarua, ko tēnei te mihi ki a rātou. Ka whakapapa o tēnei kaupapa hau. Arā, tātou whanaunga ki o tautahi. Ki reira te kākano. I tupu ai tēnā kākona, ka ho atu rātou ki te iwi o Waikato. Ki tērā, he rangatahi. Ko tai te wā mō tātou ho atu o ho mai ki a mātou ngā iwi o tēnei rohe o Rangitāne me Ngāti Raukawa. We pay tribute to those people who belong to this whakapapa, where it started at our people in Christchurch as a demonstration. They passed that kākano, they passed that rākau up to our people at Waikato, where they too did a demonstration. And now they passed that rākau to us here in Manawatu so that we can grow it into its young adulthood. Ka mea tuatoru, our third thing, ko tai te wā. Ki te mutunga, o te kōrero, ka tīmata te mahi. Time has come where the talking is finished and the work is about to begin. Nō reira, tō haerenga mai ki tātou nei rohe o Rangitāne me Ngāti Raukawa, ka whakanuitia kōrua, tēnei kaupapa hau. Your presence here today, our ministers, shows how important this is. Ki ngā tangata whaikaha, ki te whānau whaikaha. Ko tēnei rā, ko tēnei wā, he wā nunui ki a tātou katoa. It is a big, big day for our disabled community. So we thank you for coming and supporting us in this day. Nō reira, ko mutu tēnei mahi ki a hau nei, ko hara mai koutou ngā iwi katoa, ki te tautoko, ki tō whakaro pai, ki tō mihi, ki tō manaaki ki a tātou katoa. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, nau mai, hara mai, whakatau mai, tēnā koutou katoa. Ko toi, te mutunga o tēnei mihi ki a tātou katoa. Ka apiti hono tātou hono rātou, te honga mate, oi rā, oi rā, oi rā. A ka huri, tātou ka nohi ki a tātou katoa, tēnei te mihi, tēnei te aroha, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Kia ora Martin, pai.
Kia ora koutou. Hello, my name's Martin Sullivan and I've been asked to represent the regional or the local leadership group. I'm a member of that group and so I'm here to say welcome to Ministers Sepuloni and Genta. I also see in the audience we've been graced with the presence of our Mayor, Grant Smith, Councillor Naylor, and our local MP, Ian East Galloway. So welcome to you as well. Now the regional leadership group was formed last September when representatives of the disability community, whānau and providers were called together to meet with officials to undertake, to co-design a systems transformation of disability support services in the Mid-Central Health District. The aim of the transformation was to extend choice and control to disabled people and their whānau to enable them to have good lives. Now, this change in thinking and approach is truly historic. It's what the disability rights movement in Aotearoa have been asking for since the late 1970s. You've finally heard us. It's wonderful. We look forward to moving from this point to actually making real the changes which we are promised and which we've had a chance to make. Now on this note, I've said enough and I'm going to invite Minister Sepuloni to come and speak to us. So thank you.
Kia ora koutou, and thank you, Martin, for that introduction. And can I just say, you talking about the fact or reflecting on the fact that what we're doing here is something that's been discussed since the late 70s is something that I acknowledge. Because the Minister for Disability Issues, I'm coming in at the beginning of a new part of this journey, but I wasn't part of the thinking that goes back decades that many of you have been part of. So can I just acknowledge you and others in the room that have brought us to this point in time, and looking forward to being able to work with you moving forward. And can I acknowledge everyone that's here in the room today? I need to acknowledge, of course, our local MP, the Minister for ACC, Workplace Relations and Immigration, Ian East Galloway. And can I acknowledge Ian because he has been quite active alongside myself and Minister Julian Genta with respect to all things to do with disability and disabled people. He's been represented at the Independent Monitoring Mechanism Group and has been actively involved in that process as we begin to report back on our obligations and what's been achieved and the progress still to make against the Convention for the Rights of Disabled People. So you've got a good local MP, that's what I'm trying to say. Can I also, of course, acknowledge my fellow minister, the Associate Minister for Health, with responsibility for disability issues, and that is Minister Julianne Genter. Looking forward to continuing to work with Julianne. We've come into this together, learning as we go, and so far so good. So it's great to be here with Minister Genter today to be able to make this announcement. It's awesome to have the support of your local Mayor, Grant Smith, and Councillor Naylor. Thank you for being here. I think this is a really exciting opportunity for your city and for the Mid-Central region. So it's great that you can be here to hear firsthand what's intended for Mid-Central. Also, we have the Disability Rights Commissioner, Paula Tesoriero, over here. Paula, good to see you. She's been integral to some of the work that's in front of us, some of the work that's led us to where we are at this point. Members of the Mid-Central Leadership Group and the Disabled People whānau and provider core groups, including Katie Brosnahan from the Ministry of Social Development. Can I also acknowledge members of the disability sector, including representatives from disabled people's organisations, People First and Mash Trust. People from the Mid-Central District Health Board, including Catherine Cook, Chief Executive, Oriana Paiwai, Chair of the Mana Whenua Hauora Board, Stephanie Turner, Mid-Central DHB Māori and Pacific Director, Scott Ambridge, General Manager of Enable, Mid-Central Needs Assessment Coordination Agency. Officials from the Ministry of Health are here, officials from ACC are here, officials I think from Ministry of Social Development are also here, and there are probably other ministries represented in the room. So can I acknowledge all of you, particularly need to acknowledge someone that's played a leading role from the Ministry of Health, Sasha O'Day. So that's all the acknowledgements out of the way. I hope I haven't left anyone out. It is a privilege to finally be here announcing that a prototype of our new disability support system reflecting the enabling good lives principles will be trialled here in Mid-Central from the 1st of October 2018. The role of Minister for Disability Issues comes with a huge opportunity to make a difference for disabled people and their whānau, and it's an honour to be able to advocate for the rights and well-being of this community alongside this community. I'm very conscious that the work we do in government impacts real lives, the lives of disabled people, whānau, family, and the people who work to support them. That's why I'm so excited to be here announcing the launch of this prototype. The Transformed Disability Support System was co-designed by disabled people, whānau, providers and government officials working together to design a system so that disabled people have greater decision-making authority over their lives and supports. A prototype of this transformed system is a significant milestone achievement for the disability sector. I'd like to say a huge kia ora and thank you to everyone who's been involved in the system transformation. This collaboration would not have been possible without the hard work of many people. I've made many of those acknowledgements already, including of the Disability Rights Commissioner, the ministers that are involved. In the absence of Minister Clark, and I also acknowledge him, the Director of the Office of Disability Issues, Brian Coffey, Sasha O'Day and her team. So everyone that's been involved, can I acknowledge the work that you put into making this happen? I know many of you that have been involved in working groups and virtual testing groups to design this new system are sitting here probably more excited than I am because you're seeing your good work come to fruition. Thank you all for sharing your experiences and knowledge with us. Your expertise has made a significant contribution to the design of the new system in Mid-Central. Enabling Good Lives takes a person-centred approach, supporting disabled people and families to think about what they want in their lives and what support they need to make it happen. Our vision is a system where there is more flexibility and choice so that disabled people in their whānau have more autonomy over their lives and the people and supports they choose to have in their lives, and so that providers can be freer to offer and deliver services that disabled people want and need. To make sure we got it right, we have been working in partnership with the disability sector to design what the new system should look like. From this co-design process, we have developed ways to respond to the needs and wants of those in the disability sector. These include providing flexibility around the way information is provided and connections are developed, having the availability of a connector to walk alongside a disabled person and their whānau and navigate the range of supports available to them, and making funding avenues more accessible and flexible. The new system is based on the Enabling Good Lives principles and approach and lessons learned from the Enabling Good Lives demonstrations in Christchurch and Waikato, as well as the Ministry of Health's new model and international evidence. I personally saw the benefits of the Enabling Good Lives approach when I met participants in their whānau in the Waikato. I could see the difference that having more options in their lives was having on them and their family. Just reflecting on that, just the different examples, the different people that I was able to meet, seeing someone talk about the fact that finally they had an opportunity to choose who was caring and providing support for them. Seeing parents with young children who were opting to use funding for things like access to swimming lessons for their disabled child, things like a zoo pass, which was important for that child, but also important for that family, because they were actually under a huge amount of stress, as we know does happen. So just the innovative ways that families and disabled people were using funding to be able to ensure or enable them to have good lives. And I'm looking forward to that rolled out in Palmerston North. I'm excited to see how the Transform system helps disabled people and whānau in the mid-central to have a good life. Cabinet has agreed to a total of $23.84 million over 2 years to be allocated to set up a new system in mid-central, which includes Palmerston North, Horowhenua, Manawatu, Otaki and Tararua districts. 1,600 people with disabilities in their whānau here in mid-central will be part of this trial. The funding also allows the demonstrations in Christchurch and the Waikato to continue. We're taking a try, learn and adjust approach to this new system so we can be responsive and innovative during this process. The experience of people with disabilities, their whānau and providers are essential for us developing and refining the system so it truly creates a sustainable and meaningful change that we're all working towards. By working together and supporting one another, I believe that we can make this an innovative and sustainable disability support system. I'm excited about the future of this prototype and seeing how it develops, and I hope you all are too. In fact, I know lots of you in this room are too. Thank you all for this opportunity to speak, and I look forward to our continued work together. Just want to add that we have made the decision before coming here that I'd do the kind of high-level general detail around things, but we'll get further detail by the Associate Minister of Health, Julian Genta, when she takes the stage to say a few words today. So thank you very much. I'm looking forward to working with you all.
Thank you, Minister Cepoloni, for those words. Now I invite Minister Julian Genta to the stage. Thank you.
Tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa, nā mihi ki nā mana whanua, nā mihi ki nā mihi sorry. My name is Julianne Genta. I'm the Associate Minister of Health with responsibility for the disability support system. And I won't repeat all of the acknowledgements of my colleague, the Honourable Carmel Cepoloni, but I do acknowledge my ministerial colleagues, the local body officials who are here today. mana whenua and all of the families and people who've been involved in this exciting project. I know there has been a lot of anticipation for this announcement, and I particularly, thank you so much. I want to thank members of the National Enabling Good Lives Leadership Group, Patty Umaga, Ance Burgess, John Taylor, Mark Benjamin, Sasha O'Day and her team from the Ministry of Health, who have been working on this for a very long time. I know there have been many late nights and lots of effort in getting people on track. And as Martin said, this co-design process has been a very long time coming, many decades in fact. People with disabilities have been calling for change and a better way of accessing support for a very long time now. So today is a big day for the disability community, and I want to thank each and every one of you that has contributed towards this success. I'm very conscious that the mahi that was involved in all of this started long before myself or the Honourable Carmel Sepuloni came into office. But the kaupapa is one that we very much want to support, and the values and principles align perfectly with the values of this new Labour-led coalition government and the Green Party, which is why it's such a pleasure and privilege to be able to come in and help support at this stage in the process of transformation. And as Minister Sepuloni said, the Transformed Disability Support System was co-designed by disabled people, whānau, providers, government officials working together to design a system so that disabled people have greater decision-making authority over their lives and their support. And this is very much something that we are going to have to learn as we go. We already have been with the pilots in Waikato and in Canterbury. And I know that this is going to be a challenge for all those currently working in the system. But I thank you for being open to change and improvements. I know that those providers who are working every day to support disabled people, to live everyday lives, to achieve their goals and aspirations, and this adaptation will present challenges, but it will provide enormous opportunity. And of course, for the 1,600 disabled people and their whānau who live in Palmerston North, Horowhenua, Manawatu, Otaki, and Tararua that are set to trial this approach for us and help us learn as we go. I know that this is a great opportunity, and we very much need to ensure that we are evaluating the overall benefits to society from enabling people to participate at a greater level. So traditionally, we've just looked at the costs of providing support services. I think that as part of this pilot, if we get more people reaching out and accessing help and support that they need to participate fully in society, we will have achieved something really great. And we need to ensure that throughout this pilot process, our evaluation is taking into account those extended benefits of people being able to live better lives. So that is something, as Associate Minister of Health, and I'm sure with my colleague, the Minister for Disability Issues, we will be ensuring that we take a full account of the benefits, and we don't just take a narrow financial view. This is about how people participate in society, and we all do better when everyone is able to participate. So very excited to be part of this, looking forward to hearing how it goes. I understand that we won't get everything perfect straight away, but this is how we make progress, by trialing and learning. Kia ora koutou.
Thank you, Minister Genter. At this point, we've finished the formal side of the meeting, and it's time to mix and mingle now and grab the ministers and and have a word with them. So I invite you all to go down the back and have a cup of tea and something to eat, and talk with those who you wish to talk. Thank you. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, should we get ourselves back on screen, boss?
Yeah, 1 sec. I'm just making sure everybody can see us. So if you can hear us okay, can you throw any type of emoji that you like in the chat? I understand that even though I thought my mic was muted, Jasmine could still hear me earlier, so I just want to make sure I'm able to be heard now. Very important.
Yeah, I can hear you on the stream. I just had a quick check, boss.
I'm just gonna call a spade. I'm not sure we heard an announcement today.
Yeah, 23.8 million over 2 years. But
we kind of knew that going in.
But apart from that,
did we get a start date? Was I just completely distracted?
1st of October.
Okay. 1st of October. So that's it, guys. It was more high level than I was expecting, actually. I'd be really interested to get the reaction from the chat room on what we just heard today, because I know how I feel. I mean, they've put it out there. They've given us the start date. Commitment to money, really crucial. That they reiterated quite a few times that they're not going to get it right straight away. Now, there are a couple of ways to look at this. One is they don't have everything in place, the world's going to burn down. The other is the government hasn't decided this for the community. Where do you sit on that, Mike?
Ooh, I agree with what you said straight away off the bat here, that this was sort of an announcement. Mate, I really don't know. I'm happy that we have a start date, October, cool. But I mean, I think until we see the actual cabinet paper, I've really got nothing else to take away, which is really disappointing, to be quite honest. But yeah.
But I mean, it could be that thing of not wanting to set expectations.
Totally agree, and I think this whole process from start to finish has been a cautious one, and you know, I respect that, and I think I really love that both Minister Genta and Sepuloni said that, you know, this is not going to be perfect, and nor should we expect it to be, especially when you're innovating like this. So I think that they were as transparent as they could be. I think that your sentiment, you know, you were saying something I want you to repeat it about maybe do you reckon they've made all the decisions yet?
About what?
About the, you know, the financial side. I mean, yes, 23.8 million, but have they made all the decisions about how this is going to look? Do you think?
Well, in about 10 minutes' time, those cabinet papers are going to be available online. For those of you still watching us, and thank you for being loyal. This has been quite a long haul stream for Mike and I. In basically 10 minutes, cabinet papers detailing the decisions that were just made are going to be available on enablingoodlives.co.nz.
Yeah, and I guess are we're going to be going through that, are we?
Right now, I'm not. I'm not sure if we could do that. To be honest, we've got a comment here from Jasmine. Thank you for being a loyal viewer today, Jasmine. Jasmine says it makes sense for it to be rolled out in the smaller regions rather than the highly populated areas, for example, Auckland and Wellington. So we've known for the longest time that it was going to be mid-central. That wasn't the issue. But going back to what Jasmine says, it does make sense. Because you wanna work with smaller populations. You don't want to be letting people down en masse. You wanna use that try, learn, and adjust approach that we've been talking about.
Yeah, I agree. I think if there were going to be two regions that this was going to happen, it would have either been mid-central, which is where it's happening, or maybe the southern of the South Island. But yeah, I think it makes sense to go there first. 1,600 people is still a lot, but nothing in comparison to those main centres. And this is going to be, I think, similar to what we've seen in the Waikato and Christchurch. There's going to be learnings taken from what we see in the mid-central over the next 2 years, and I don't actually know what happens after 2 years. I would imagine that they'll probably look at rolling out, in other areas. I can't see it going nationwide bang off the bat from there. But,
so, what I did want to touch on, though, is there was a key point that I heard. Waikato and Christchurch will be enabled to continue through that funding.
Yes, and that's part of the 26.8 million, isn't it?
Yep.
So yeah, well, that's great for EGL continuing in these areas. And I mean, calling my own bias, yeah, I'm delighted I'll be able to stay under EGL. I imagine the finances in both those regions will be strict, probably more strict than they are now. So, yeah, I'm just struggling to really say anything at this point in time, JD. I mean, we've heard it.
Yep. Jasmine's made another comment. She says a lot to be excited about for us, but maybe years away, exclamation mark. So, I happen to know that Jasmine lives in Auckland, and yeah, it might be a few years away still, for poor old Auckland. But, I'm looking on the positive, and even if we're talking 4 or 5 years away, in the scheme of things, I'm not too upset. We've got another one. It's exciting. We'll wait with my Auckland and other population communities with bated breath. Absolutely. And I guess to spin it for positive, because that's what I like to do, the system would have learnt a lot from the experience of the mid-central. It would have transformed Christchurch and Waikato so they're in line with what's happening in the mid-central, and then we basically get the benefits of those learnings. So yes, we need to wait our turn, but I guess we, Auckland, Wellington, come out with a more finalised product, if you want to call it that. That being said, though, we should always anticipate that each region will have a local flavour. It's not the goal of system transformation just to create another one-size-fits-all thing. You heard from both the ministers. It's about being flexible. It's about learning, and it's about making, more use of what resources already available. Basically, flexible. Yeah.
So we've got a comment here from Hannah. She says something Julianne said was the priority to recognise change. It was seeing that people who currently do not receive support and work towards a supported good life, and then recognising a good life change for individual. And I think, you know, in the mid-central, you got 1,600 people that are going to be likely affected by rollout in a good way. I think we need to, and I'm sure they are having these discussions about how we're gonna target those people that are not getting any support, that are not even under DSS health funding, and there are a lot of those. I think certain things that we might see in the cabinet paper in terms of communication will be good. But yeah, it's how are you feeling, Jade? I mean, I'm positive. I'm happy we've heard. We got a date. We got a financial number. But as someone who's worked a lot on this, how are you feeling at this point without looking at the actual paper?
I'm actually feeling a sense of euphoria. So, I've been building up to this for at least the last 6 years, and you and I, we were building up to creating this show probably last week. We decided we were going to do it. Yep. So for me, to have this moment over with, to have words on the table from the ministers, and in a few minutes from now, new cabinet papers available, I think there's a lot of reason why the disability community should be excited. But this is going to be a learning process. Let's stay practical, yeah?
Hannah says she's excited about that they're talking about flexibility, and I agree with that too. I loved how it was a very carefully constructed speech from both of them. I loved how they really touched on that need for flexibility. Just want to refer to my notes here because there was a big thing that I picked up on. It's going to be one sec. So it was what Genta said. She said that the evaluation needs to ensure that the extended benefits of people living better lives are evaluated and not just take a narrow financial view. So that is so good to hear from the minister, because the financial details are not going to tell you the story when this mid-central gets evaluated. It's just like here in the Waikato, we're going for evaluation, that the stories of the people and their lives are the things that are going to tell the most, I think.
Yeah, and I guess during that comment, I heard something different around the fact she said, we're not just going to take a financial approach to this. Was that a stab at National, perhaps? A financial view on the evaluation of it?
Well, I mean, I think that's sort of neither here nor there, to be honest. I just, if they can live up to that claim that this will be evaluated, yes, financially, but also on the benefits that people have from it, I think it's really positive and exciting. But that's a long time down the track as well. So
whole of life is something you talk a lot about. So for those watching, I mean, what is the whole of life as you see it?
So for me, the whole of life approach is you start, if you're going to be supporting a person with disability and their whānau, I really believe that you start the care aspect. And when I say the care aspect, I mean having somebody come into shower, dress, cook meals, whatever. I think that is the lowest. It's the bottom, and you build up and around. You build from that. It's sort of like a building block. The care and all that. It's a necessity. It needs to be tailored to the individual, but you go up from there. You build around. So that would be my very uneducated definition of what whole of life is.
So look, I think we're at a good place where we've probably deconstructed every piece that we possibly could. It was a very well constructed speech from both the ministers, as you put it, Mike. Just from me, systems transformation is about flexibility, choice, and control. It's about putting the say-so in the hands of families and individuals and families. But one last thing that I picked up on, which was really cool, was that Minister Genta referred to the fact that flexibility will also have benefits for providers. Before we crossed to the live stream, we were talking a little bit about the fact that providers are still needed, and there's no argument on that from me. But flexibility for providers in terms of what they're allowed to do and how they're allowed to do it will have benefits across the board.
You're exactly right, and I mean that I'm so glad you said that, because as much as people like me like to criticise providers, I honestly do think that they are hamstrung, not only financially, but around the guidelines of how those contracts are delivered. And yeah, I'm excited for what they can do. It hopefully it gives them room to innovate, to self-review, and to move forward. So yeah, we can't deny that this is a good thing for providers, and I still don't think some of them will make it through, but the ones that are, like I said, are able to innovate, and are not scared to do so will make it. And there's a market there for them as well. Because people, with all this choice and control and flexibility, which is great, I think a lot of the whole sector really was like, well, crap, how do we do that then? It's in our court now. How do we move forward? Because we've never had this before. It's incredibly exciting.
I'm excited for the prospect of a free market, though, where rather than being told what service you can have and how you can have it, families and individuals dictate it through how they move their money through the market. We're going to see what's been called in the background a bit of market shaping. Some will fall off, some will merge, some will totally reinvent themselves to be everything they want them to be. Some will use digital products to create efficiencies within their business. Things like that. Some will move entirely to making products available rather than people. iPads and that sort of thing.
I think we've already seen it actually, because I noticed in Wellington a couple of weeks ago, Marawanui, they got this online portal platform, WebCare, MyCare, excuse me, those are the three right now. I think we're going to have more and more of these online platforms coming together and competing for a place in the market, similar to what you were saying, I guess.
Yeah, so we've just got a question from Jasmine, and sorry, Jasmine, you did ask this earlier on, but Jasmine's asking, what do we mean by providers? So when we say providers, we're actually talking about those organisations that have disability support contracts, and they could be of various types. It could be for home help, community support, vocational. I don't actually know how many there are. There's residential contracts for support providers. Do you know of any others?
No. But
That's the main ones, though. So when we say providers, sorry, Jasmine, we're talking about organisations that have contracts, for the moment anyway, with the Ministry of Health to provide disability support services.
So we just got a minister's media release has come out on the site. I'll post that link into the chat below, and we'll probably put it on social as well. Hannah's got a question here. She says, could that be looked at what local Farrar non-paid opportunities support. Okay, so what? Sorry, what local non-paid?
Okay, so I think
Yeah.
what Hannah's talking about there is opportunities for capacity building and networking.
Yeah.
So without looking at the current cabinet paper, because I haven't seen it yet, that was all through the high level design. So absolutely, that will be a feature where people have opportunities to upskill, try things, have access to community resources, be part of groups. All of that is within scope. Just going to Jasmine's question around will the NAS still exist? So in the conversations that I've been having, and as far as what I'm allowed to talk about, I can tell you that the organizational form and the assessment process for funding will be very different. So that the needs assessment process and the funding allocation process that we know now will be very different in the very near future and from October 1st in the Mid-Central, as we now know. I'm being very careful with my words because there's a lot of politics behind that, but the process, I can say hand on heart that the process and the organisational form will look very different. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess yeah, I mean, I guess we're almost getting ready to close, but I'm excited. As a Waikato demonstration participant, nothing changes for me, hopefully. So,
Well, that's not true. That's not true because your team, your local team, is going to be fed insights from the Mid-Central, and over time, your demonstration will have more and more of the features of the system transformation. So you'll have more access, more flexibility, more opportunity to grow your good life. So
Yeah.
over time, it will change.
Just so the cabinet paper is now out on the website.
Can you
we've
post a
also-
link for the guys?
Yep. We've also got summary of that. We've got an FAQ as well.
So do we want to go over the summary? Should I download a summary now?
Yeah, we'll go over the summary and we'll talk to it. I'll just post the link of the actual.
Okay, let's do that now. Is that okay? Yep. I'm enjoying this. Are you in a hurry, Mike?
No, mate. I could talk for another hour.
Okay, so.
See the way you can bring it up on screen, boss?
I can do once I find it. Where is it?
EGL website.
April cabinet papers?
No, cabinet paper summary.
Oh, cabinet paper summary. Okay. Oh, so this is an HTML format.
Okay.
All right. I can work that out on the console here. Hold on. I'll have to make something happen. Won't bother naming it. We'll bring it in, eh? Okay, here we go. So I'll enlarge this. I'll make it, and we'll throw it up. I don't know if people can read that.
I'll just have a look.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty. You can scroll, can't you? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so this paper seeks agreement to start a new disability support system on the 1st of October in the Mid-Central DHB region and to spend $23.84 million from the budget 2017. Mid-Central includes Palmerston North, Horowhenua, Manawatu, Otaki, and Tararua districts in the North Island. The new system has been designed together with disabled people, whānau and others in the disability sector, and is based on the Enabling Good Lives vision and principles. Its objectives are to give people, disabled people and their whānau, more options and decision-making authority about their lives and supports to improve their outcomes and create a more cost-effective disability support system. How about I let you take the key features?
Cool. So I've already spotted a few I'm really happy about. So the key features include people will be welcomed into the new system in multiple ways. They can be provided with information linked to a connector, peer network, government agency or disability organisations. Access to connectors / tūhono, someone who can walk alongside. So the connector is somebody who can walk alongside disabled people and whānau to help them identify what they want in their lives, how to build that life, and a range of supports. Easy to use information and processes for disabled people and whānau. Connected support across government. This is very important. So a government liaison supporting person in the background to access other government services, for an example, a benefit application, and to build positive relationships of other parts of government. So, for example, accessing learning support in school. A straightforward process for funding, for accessing funding with flexibility about what can be purchased and easy reporting on how funding has been used. Capability funding for disabled people allocated by regional leadership group. Greater system accountability to disabled people and their whānau. Disabled people and whānau are involved in monitoring and evaluating the system and to make recommendations for ministers about changes to the system.
Existing support will continue on the 1st of October, while everyone in the Mid-Central will be a part of the new system. From the 1st of October, disabled people and whānau will continue to receive the support they were receiving on the 30th of September 2018. Change will occur when disabled people and whānau contact the new teams to consider options, or a connector engages with disabled people and whānau on their regular review date. And just a note about the teams, see, this is quite interesting. There will be 2 teams set up and based in the Mid-Central. One, the disabled people and whānau supporting team will be a new team made up of connectors and a network builder reporting to the Ministry of Health. Few alarm bells there.
I'm confused. What's that even mean?
I'm not sure at this stage. Let me continue. The system enabling team will be made up of information specialists, government liaison, and business and administration roles. This will be delivered through Enable, the existing Needs Assessment Service Coordination, NESC. The new team will be made up of a mix of current employees and new staff who are recruited. This is an interim and pragmatic step ahead of decisions on future organisational arrangements for the disability support system. I'll let you have governance.
Yeah, we'll come back to that one because there's a lot of confusion there. Governance. There are a range of governance and advisory groups that have been put in place so that a wide range of views can be heard. The voices of disabled people and whānau are part of each governance and advisory group. A subgroup of the Mid-Central Leadership Group. Oh my goodness. I'll repeat that. A subgroup of the Mid-Central Regional Leadership Group will make decisions relating to the 2 new teams and the implementation and operation of the new system in mid-central. They will operate like a board and will formally advise the Ministry of Health. The Minister for Disability Issues and Associate Minister of Health will approve the terms of reference for the Mid-Central Regional Governance Group. Monitoring and evaluation. The new man, there's a lot to talk about here, Jade. The new system will be monitored and evaluated. Disabled people will be involved in assessing the new system to help us understand the following. If there are improved life outcomes for disabled people, including health, well-being, physical and financial security, relationships, social inclusion, self-determination and self-fulfillment, it will understand where improvements are needed, what needs to be changed or expanded, if and how the approach should be expanded. I'll let you take it from there.
Sure. Funding the 23.84 allocated over 2 years. Let me start that all over again. The 23.84 million allocated over 2 years will set up the new system in Mid-Central and continue the EGL demonstrations in Christchurch and Waikato. The majority of the funding will be used to increase support for disabled people in whānau through the following ways. Additional direct support allocated to disabled people in whānau. The direct support will mainly fund early interventions and improved access to specialist services. Point number 2, additional indirect support for disabled people in whānau, delivered mostly by connectors, as well as a focus on building the capability of disabled people whānau support workforce and providers, and funding EGL workshops across New Zealand. This will enable disabled people, try saying that fast, to identify new possibilities for their life and build networks and skills to make them a reality. Infrastructure. This includes the back office team, i.e. the system enabling team and the national and regional governance. Point number 4, one-off costs. These include the team co-designing the transform system with the disability community, an interim IT solution, and monitoring and evaluation. Funding to continue. Point number 5, funding to continue the Christchurch and Waikato demonstrations until June 2020, when they are due to be transformed. And you can see here, they've got a basic high-level breakdown of the budgets, 2018 to 19, 19 to 20. So additional direct support, we're looking at $2.939 million for the 2018 to 19 year, and it actually increases to 3.546 in the 2019 to 2020 year. A total expenditure across the 2 years of $6.485 million.
I'll give you a break there. So additional indirect support, 3.118 million. That's from 2018-19 year. Just over 3 million in the following year, adding up to a total of 6.1 million. Infrastructure, very important. $1.3 million in the next year, and a further $500,000 the following year. Total of 1.9 million. One-off transitional and implementation costs. This is a big one. 3.9 million, so nearly $4 million alone in the next year. 2.7 million in the following year. Total of 6.6 million. Continuation. This is important to me. Of existing EGL demonstrations, 1.3 million over the next year, the same again the following year, and 2.6 million. I'll have to check up if that's an increase or a decrease. So yeah, we all total in the next financial year $12.5 million. In the 1920 year, $11.2 million. Total of $23.8 million. Decisions on the detailed design of funding allocation, accountability for funding, and financial risk management will be sought from ministers in June 2018.
Cool, so now we move to the try, learn and adjust approach that we heard from Minister Sepuloni earlier today. There will be a try, learn and adjust approach taken, whoa, hold on, when the new system is up and running in the Mid-Central. Feedback from disabled people in Farrar will help improve and finalise the system before it is rolled out across New Zealand. Decisions on the final model and expansion beyond Mid-Central will be sought from Cabinet in late 2020. Financial implications. Funding for the national rollout of the new system will be sought through the following budgets. Estimates of the ongoing cost could be $140 to $160 million per year. There will also be funds needed for an updated nationwide IT solution and for organisational and governance changes. The amount of additional funding sought may change following what is learnt in the Mid-Central. This includes refining the final model and the extent of increased demand from people who are new to the disability support system. I find some of this stuff really hard to read.
Alright, so future policy work, I totally agree with you there too. Developing a new system creates a wide range of policy and operational issues. Well, behave, Michael. Behave, Michael Pullman. There is work underway or planned on, which includes disability support funding from across government, the tax treatment of disability support funding paid to disabled people and Farrar now. Very interesting. Further developing, behave yourself, safeguarding arrangements, the impact of GST, how to implement the government's approach to paying family carers, eligibility and developing options to enter the new system. Okay. Work on means testing and legislative work. And there's a thing here about machinery.
The cabinet paper includes a process for making decisions around the future organisational arrangements. This is called a machinery of government review. It will involve representatives from the disability sector and officials and is expected to be finished by late 2020.
Jade, I've got to say something. I appreciate these people are working very hard. And you might growl at me later for saying this.
Let me come back to you. Let me come back to you 1 second. Hello.
Hello?
Yeah, I was just throwing you up on the screen.
Oh, sorry, I didn't even see it.
Yeah.
Hang on, am I? Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay, listen. I understand that these people are busy. I understand that this is a massive project. But I'm going to put my name out there to the Ministry of Health. And if you want someone to write this stuff, I'm your very man. Because this is, I'm very confused at the moment, JD.
What are you confused about exactly?
Some of the language I feel is really... is there an easy read? No, there is an easy read.
Yeah, there will be.
Yeah.
They're very committed to that stuff. There will be an easy read.
I'm having a look at it right now. But there's a link down here to a video which is not working because it's a live stream. You got to get all this stuff sorted beforehand. But cool as.
So, tell me again.
Let's just move on, boss. I'm going on a run, so I don't want to ruin the stream.
Hey, listen. It is 4:30. You've got your own stream later on, which my channel hosts as well. So if you're a friend of mine, you're a friend of Mike's, and if you're a friend of Mike's, you're a friend of mine. Twitch is good like that, eh?
Oh yeah, we're gonna be doing karaoke. I might be shirtless. We're gonna listen to some music. I got copyrighted last night, by the way, so I need to make sure that all these karaoke songs that they're sending me, I need to make sure they're royalty free first. But
Awesome.
But yeah, I'm excited. So hope to see you there. Just
So-
want to say,
Yeah, so before you go, I just want to get your final thoughts.
yeah, there's a couple of things I want to say. I'll give you my final thoughts now. I've had too much coffee. Listen, I don't really know at the moment, quite frankly. I'm really happy that we have a date, that we have a financial number. There wasn't much said about a lot of things I'm curious about, but I might find out in the cabinet paper. I think we need to give these people a chance, and I've never once doubted that this is nothing but good for disabled people. So we need to keep that in perspective. We're not living in Africa over here. We need to be appreciative of what we have. And I would just involve everyone. Now is the time to have a discussion. Use social media. Get in touch with your ministers. And just get out there and be a part of this new system in your region. Big opportunity for Mid-Central. Finally, Jade, I just want to say, man, yes, we did this as a team, but this was your idea, and I think we should both, but you in particular, should be really happy with this afternoon. We did the disability sector a credit today. It was really underhyped, which I can't even believe, but I think we've done a great job bringing this to the people, and for someone who worked so closely on this project, it was a nervous day for you, so well done on that, and thanks for bringing me along for the ride.
Yeah, what I would say just to close is, it's been an honour and a privilege to work with you for the last 2.5 hours, Mike. But I would also say that it's an honour and a privilege to serve the disability community in the way that I do. It is a job that I do in the various governance roles that I have, but I don't see it as a job. I see it as an opportunity to serve and to provide a voice for disabled people and their families. So in everything I do, this is a real privilege. I'm extremely humbled, and I appreciate your very kind words, Mike. And this is probably the first time where my work has actually collided with my social media platforms, and I think both of us have walked that line in a very respectful manner. But time will tell as more people see this recording after the fact. Just to say a big shout out to everybody that's joined us today. I want to make particular mention of Hannah and Jasmine that have taken part in the chat. Thank you for being a part of our community, being along on the journey with us. I was aware of a couple of technical difficulties that I had on this end over the span of the stream, and I was having audio issues during the live stream, but Jasmine helped me sort those out. So look, we will close it off now, but thank you so much again, Mike. Your energy was so great in this, and you became almost a lecturer, taking us through some of those key elements. So I really appreciate you stepping up to the plate on that. Thank you to Hannah, who's been working in the background, keeping an eye on everything and making sure the stream was actually running. And thank you to you guys at home for giving us a reason to do this stream today and being part of this with us. Maybe we'll do it again in the next cabinet paper, who knows. But for right now, guys, thank you for being a part of this channel. Thank you for being a part of the journey. And we'll see you in the next one.